So contrary to what Molly May famously said, there are 16 hours in a day, right? I mean, assuming you sleep like a normal person, be it 8 hours of sleep, 16 hours a day. That's your 16 slots of the day that you have to fill with whatever it is that you may be doing. If you then want to do cooking, for example, that takes up an hour of your day or 2 hours a day. Exercise, that's going to take up also an hour of your day. If you have to commute to work, that's going to take up maybe an hour, 2 hours of your day. And you slowly start to realize that when you start adding in all of these things, that there is less and less and less time of your day available to doing the things that are actually productive towards your future, towards what you want to become, towards whatever it is that you want to achieve. Well, that's what I've realized recently anyways. Now, this then leads me on to the thing that I've been trying to work on a lot recently. Well, I mean, it's been something I've been working on for the last 3 years, but that is kind of like the idea of optimizing your time in the most time efficient way possible so that you can maximize out of your hours the things that you actually want to do. Now, within this time optimization, the thing that I've kind of realized, or the conclusion that I've kind of come to, is that I no longer want to wake up at 8 in the morning. Because basically what I've been finding is that I wake up at 8 in the morning, I'm very sluggish in the morning, I'm sluggish through the whole of my morning, and then I then have to gear up this whole of this evening session to getting everything done that I've wanted to get done. And that then means that I then don't sleep well, and then we then repeat the process starting again 8 in the morning. And I did some research, and I basically came across this morning routine, or this sleep routine by Andrew Huberman. He is famous, or become famous on the internet, for optimizing pretty much every single aspect of his life, and specifically his morning routine. And I looked at it and I was like, wow, I would really love to try this because I feel like I could gain something from this. So tomorrow morning, we are going to be trying the Andrew Huberman morning routine, and I'm going to tell you whether I think it's actually worth it, because I'm not going to lie, it is a little bit extreme, but I'm willing to try everything, and I would really love to be able to report back honestly to you guys to see how I feel. I'll see you tomorrow. I really should have gone to bed earlier. So, good morning. The time is currently 5:32, which I'm going to be honest is unfortunately early. I think my body is in a little bit of shock right now. The only time I ever wake up this early is if I'm going on a flight. Now, the reason that you wake up this early is that if you didn't wake up this early to start this morning routine, you'd probably finish this morning routine at about dinner time. Like, it is really long. Now, the first thing that he recommends is a glass of water and a little pinch of salt. The reason for this is obviously a glass of water, bloody good for you. And then the reason that you add salt to it is that it increases your blood volume, which then hopefully aids blood flow to your brain and stops you getting jitters in the morning, and generally just makes you feel slightly more energized. Gorgeous. Another thing to note, by the way, is that he also practices intermittent fasting, which means that we're obviously not going to be eating breakfast at this point, which I'm going to be real, it's 5:30. I'm actually not hungry. Now, the next thing that he recommends is to go outside for a 10-minute walk into the sunlight. I mean, there's not much sunlight at this point, I'm going to be real. And basically the idea is that this 10 minutes of sunlight that you're going to get while you're outside is to basically set your circadian rhythm or your circadian clock for the day. And for those who don't know, the circadian rhythm or circadian clock is like a 24-hour clock that your body and every cell experiences. Now, when you do go outside earlier in the day, it gives you this earlier peak in cortisol. Obviously, cortisol is your stress hormone. This peak in cortisol is like a natural thing. It happens to you during your 24-hour circadian rhythm, no matter what you do. And the earlier you have it in the day, the more alertness you're going to get, because you'll get benefits from it. The later your cortisol spike happens in the day, so if it happens in the late afternoon, it's actually a sign or a marker of depression. So we're going to try and avoid that, and we're going to go outside for this 10 minutes of peace. Now, this one of like getting up and going out and like not going on your phone instantly, I can 100% vouch for, because the last time that I did this, or something similar, because obviously I wasn't waking up at 5:30, was the 75 hard. And I can tell you for an absolute fact that that is the best I felt mentally and physically. Another thing to note, by the way, is the fact that like he recommends to like stare at the sun. Well, not necessarily at the sun, but like near and around the sun, to like access all of those photons that are coming into your eyes, And apparently this whole thing will also not only give you these benefits of like waking up in the morning, but also set your like circadian rhythm to release melatonin at the right time later on in the day to signal to your body that you need to now go to sleep. So it'll help you go to sleep later as well. So just lots of benefits here, lots of benefits, and we are feeling bloody brilliant. Also, I cannot even tell you the last time that I saw a sunrise in London. Like, I don't think it's been a thing since January, because the sun rises at like 8:30. Today is going to be a good day, man. Today is going to be a good day. Now, next up on the agenda is a cold shower. I know how much people on the internet fear cold shower, but I can vouch for this personally because I introduced a cold shower into my morning routine maybe a year and a half ago. It is the best thing you can do in the morning. Since I introduced the cold shower in the morning, first of all, I have found that I have been way more alert in the morning, way more alert throughout the day. I have found that I have like got ill much less. Apparently there is some scientific correlation between a boost in immunity and a cold shower, but that's just from my own personal experience too. And then secondly, and most importantly, there is such a feel-good factor about cold shower or cold water exposure. The reason that you feel good after a cold shower, a couple of numbers here for you. Sex, chocolate, and cocaine release 200% dopamine. I'm not actually sure what the figure is from, but like I guess it's like a 200% increase from your starting point after you have all of these things. Conversely, a cold shower in the morning releases up to 250% more dopamine. Another thing that's worth noting, by the way, is that dopamine rise is a very slow rise. It's not like an instant gratification one, like I mentioned with the prior. Anyways, let's go freeze my balls off. Next up on today's menu is exercise. I'm going to be honest, if you don't exercise and you are watching this, please start introducing exercise into your routine. When I was at school, I used to play sport literally 6 or 7 days a week. I was playing full-time tennis, and then when I left and I was like, I didn't make it pro in tennis, I haven't got anyone to play sport with, I lost so much, like not only of my personality, but also my just general feel good and liveliness, you know? There is something about moving our bodies that is essential to being. And also, on top of all like the general science stuff that like is going on in terms of like our body's requirement to be exercised and moving, I also really believe in the idea of like feeling good, looking good. And then obviously when you're looking good, you're then feeling good. So it's kind of like a nice little loop. And, you know, in general, when I'm exercising, I feel like I'm looking my best, and that makes me happy. Exercise is so important. So the fact that he's got exercise in the morning routine, I think, is brilliant. Anyways, we're gonna head to the gym now. Andrew, the man himself, recommends to do about 180 minutes of cardio per week, and then intermittently each other day, adding some weights in. Yesterday I did some cardio, so today we're gonna be doing some weights. Let's go smash the gym. Right, so I know that people love to hype up how they feel when they do these sort of challenges, but we're not even halfway through and I am feeling so good. Side note, by the way, I'm really starting to think that maybe I should have showered after the gym or done the cold shower after the gym, because I'm now about to do my second shower in 90 minutes. Feels a bit weird, a little bit psychotic, but I also don't want to spend the rest of the morning feeling really sweaty. So shower number 2 coming up. Now, something that I've actually failed to mention, and the reason for this is because it doesn't actually affect me in the slightest, but it might affect some of you at home, so I thought I'd make you aware of it, is that he suggests that you don't drink caffeine for the first 90 to 120 minutes of your day. Now, the reason for this is because basically there's a chemical called adenosine, which like will build up in your brain while you're awake throughout the day. And while you're asleep, it breaks down and it is removed. Now, obviously, when you wake up in the morning and maybe you haven't had the best sleep and you get that sort of brain fog feeling, there is still some adenosine left over and it hasn't been fully broken up by your body body yet. Caffeine, right, basically blocks the breakdown of adenosine, which means that when the caffeine wears off, all of a sudden you have all of this buildup of adenosine that you haven't been able to remove from your system, and then you get that sort of like mid-morning crash or afternoon crash, etc., etc. Doesn't affect me because I'm allergic to coffee and I don't really like drinking tea first thing in the morning anyways, but if that is something that affects you, might be of interest. Anyways, next up on the agenda, and this is something that Andrew doesn't speak about, is obviously getting ready for the day as such. I thought I'd run you through my personal little morning routine that I do every single morning. It's extremely basic, but this is what gets me ready to start literally every day, no matter whether I'm shooting for something or just, I don't know, going to the park, which first of all starts with drying your hair. Woo. Because I don't know if you know, but hair is quite a big part of my life. And then for the finishing touches, obviously I mentioned this product in the last video. This is a product that I have now been working on for 2 years. I'll be honest, like this product itself is a long way off being finished because it doesn't have the hold that I want it to have, and we're gonna have to reformulate. And we're also waiting for the fragrance to come in because I've had it fragranced professionally by a proper nose. So it's not just like an off-the-shelf fragrance that you'll find in most hair products. This is one that's designed literally by the people that did like Tyler the Creator's fragrance. They did Dunhill, they did Joe Malone, they did stuff. So yeah, there's a long way off, which is why I haven't really spoken about it yet. As you can see, the whole idea of it is to get like really easy texture. So yeah, that's the next bit that I add into my morning routine. The next thing is skincare, and I'll be honest, at the moment, my skincare is super easy, super stripped back. Pretty much just this skin purifier, which breaks down all the pollutants in the skin and in the air, because obviously I live in London, so that's pretty key. Followed up by a little dollop of eye cream, which by the way, in my opinion, is pretty much the only way to pretend that you're not tired, because it will just cover those eye bags. And yeah, as you can see, gives it like nice little shimmer. And then to finish off, a little bit of sun cream, just because we don't want any skin damage, you know? And I want to look as young as possible for as long as possible. Anyways, that's my little bit of morning routine. Back on to Andrew. Now, the next bit that Andrew sort of talks about is this like 90 minutes of uninterrupted work, or like work meditation. Now, this 90 minutes could literally be anything. It could be writing, you could be reading, you could be listening to a podcast, you could be holding meetings, whatever it is. But the whole idea is that you have 90 minutes uninterrupted without your phone. The idea and the theory behind this is that it's kind of strength testing and improving your focus, so that when you then do want to focus on things later in the day or in other activities, etc., you can sort of drop in on that task like a laser and you're just there, you're just doing it. So for my 90 minutes, we're gonna kind of split it up into two. We're gonna do a little bit of reading because I'll be honest, I don't really get that much opportunity to do any reading. Sometimes I do 10 minutes before bed, but to actually make progress and really get my teeth into a book is really difficult. And then secondly, I'm hosting a meeting for the product that I'm working on with my best mate, and we're gonna be discussing a few things. So I'm also gonna be doing that within my 90 minutes. And that is my 90 minutes done. Well, it will be after I do it. You know what I mean. We have now been awake at 5 hours to this point, and I'll be honest, I am starting to feel it a little bit. However, the meeting and the reading was really quite lovely. Went really well. Both were, I think, in my opinion, pretty productive. If you had a job, you would then go into work. Obviously, at this point, I still can't eat because we're not allowed to eat till 12, and there is another thing that happens after 12, so we will be continuing that to finish the morning as a whole. But like, my reflections on it so far is that it's kind of been really refreshing. I often find that I get a real morning fog, and I feel really quite drowsy until 8, 9, 10, and already today it's 10 o'clock and I've got so much done. It's like so much done. But anyways, I'm gonna get on with a couple more bits because there are some bits that I actually also really need to do that don't involve meeting and do require me to have my phones. And then I'll see you for the next part of it, which is at 12. Time is now obviously 12 o'clock, which rather nicely marks the end to the intermittent fast. Now, the next step were you to proceed with this would be the no sleep deep rest, which is a 20-minute nap or meditation. And to be honest, rightly so. I mean, at this point you have been awake for almost 7 hours, which is a long time, right, when you put it into perspective. However, unfortunately, as much as I would love to take a nap on video, because when am I ever going to turn down a nap, I've got some things that I really need to get on with this afternoon that I can't film, and I don't really have time for a nap. Now, what are my reflections on this morning? Number one, Andrew Huberman, whether you back him, whether you like his science, is definitely onto something. And honestly, I do feel really, really good. I feel like a lot of that could be placebo, it potentially could be adrenaline. And I feel like if I was to do this for much, much longer, potentially the benefits might not be as apparent. But that is open to say, and something that I will say is that I will be taking a lot of the things that I've learned today into my own personal routine, because there are things that I already currently do that I feel like I'm benefiting from that are within this routine, and I feel like, okay, I could take a bit of that and I could take a bit of that, and all of a sudden I feel like I would be an absolute machine. But other than that, if you have got any other morning routines that you would like me to try, please let me know. If you've got any other challenges that you would like me to try, please let me know. And other than that, please make sure you like, subscribe, check out my other videos, and yeah, have a lovely day.